Welcome back to the Poison Touch Advice Hour, the podcast where the Pope and his Frocagine give you all the best and worst advice for all of life's predicaments. How are we doing, ladies and gents, and theys and friends, and all of the gender appropriations and the pronouns, as Rihanna would say? We're back, and it is Pride Month. It's Pride Month. We're getting into it, and I am joined this month by Twitch star, diva, Roblox aficionado.
Okay.
Drag artist. I am joined by PapiOddly. How are you?
I'm booing well. How are you booing?
I'm doing well.
I can't stand you.
I'm like, this episode is gonna be a mess, and I'm so excited for it. This is a good one.
Trust, it will.
I know. Let's get into it. So, how long have you been streaming, friend?
I hit 3 years in April 20th. So yes, my stream anniversary is actually on April 20th. 420, blaze it and praise it.
Okay. Were we celebrating?
I didn't get a chance to this year because I had a friend from Twitch as well who came down here, came up here rather, to celebrate their birthday. So I did that instead, and honestly, no regrets. So
Cute.
listen, I celebrate my stream anniversary every day.
Yeah, as you should. What made you want to start streaming?
I wanted to start streaming. Well, funny enough, I started on YouTube and I didn't actually like have a goal until I bumped into Twitch and I was like, wait a minute. And I loved like the community based like style of it. So my main goal, and it's still to this day, is to create and cultivate literally a safe space for the LGBTQIA plus BIPOC community. And yet we're still doing that. And it's not just on me, it's also on everyone that is part of the community that does their due diligence to keep it safe. So that's been my main goal, and that's still what I'm doing, and we're succeeding.
Amen. We love that because it's important. And you're right, it really is on everybody. It's not just on the mods, it's on the people that show up, it's on everybody to make sure that, you know, we foster a good community because they tried to kill us. They are consistently like, I remember last year, no, it was 2 years ago, I got hate rated once. Oh my god, it was terrifying.
Oh Lord, no.
Actually, yeah, it was like 2-3 years ago, but it was atrocious. So I'm like, yeah, it really is on all of us to ensure that we get our safe spaces because we deserve them. We need them.
Especially now that it's Pride, you have a lot of haters out there. And I got bot followed twice.
Girl.
In one stream. It was on the Killer Clown stream actually, where I got bot follow.
Girl. It was the Killer Clown that was in love with me.
Oh, me. I'm the Killer Clown. That was Clown Minnesota.
Oh my god. Well, I want to get into that dream, but after the intro section, because this clown fell in love with me, and it was a whole wild ride. I'm talking about a dream because we were talking about this off cam beforehand. How has your stream changed since the beginning? The types of games you play. Let's talk about your layout, the branding. We're all ghosty. We got little demons today. What was the vibe when you first started versus now?
The vibe when I first started, I was definitely very like, you can tell that I was very reserved a little bit, where I was kind of like speaking really low, didn't have much energy because I didn't know what I was doing and I was really nervous. And I think I mainly played horror games. DVD was a part of it as well. Like I think I dedicated 2 days for DVD. But what used to be a thing on my stream, which I don't do anymore, but I want to bring back, and I've been mentioning that to the ghosties in chat. I used to take a minute to like pause in the middle of a game, and depending on the game that I'm playing, I talk about a certain like horror topic. So example, if I was playing Luigi's Mansion, I talked about paranormal cases.
Ooh, I love that.
Right? So, I would talk about like the name is escaping me right now. Oh, well, when I'm playing killer as DVD, I would talk about like the non-popular killers that deserve recognition in a way. So I used to do that a lot while we were waiting for like the next match.
That's so cute. I love that. Do you listen to podcasts in your free time?
Not as much as I used to, but I do want to jump back in on it because I used to listen to like Witch Wave, which is a really good one by Pam Grossman. I used to listen to Nicole Byers. Why Won't You Date Me? Yes.
Yeah, love her.
And I want to get into more of like murder mysteries and like, horror stuff. So
Yeah, the reason I bring it up is because my last two guests were both had a horror podcast. So that would
oh
be Aaron from Frequency. So he does like horror movie reviews, and he'll do all types of different topics. And then as well as Ralph Anthony from the Scream Queer podcast. Shout out to both of them.
oh
And
wow.
Scream Queer is great. You know, he does he'll do like 911 phone calls. We'll talk paranormal. I had an episode with him just
That's
a couple
sick.
weeks ago, and we talked everything from ghosts to how I think that ghosts are gay, and I
I love
truly
that
we
though.
talked so much. We talked about the Mothman, we talked about Bigfoot, like we talked about
Oh,
everything, and
not Bigfoot.
I got to read a really fun 911 voicemail about someone who snuck into a tiger enclosure and tried to pet the tiger and ended up getting mauled. They survived. They survived. But
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
so shout out to both of them. They're both really
Mhm.
cool. So if this goes for everyone in chat, if you're looking for like a cute little uh queer horror podcast, both of those, that's Frequency and Scream Queer podcast. Both are really good.
Frequency. I'm writing that down. Just letting you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, you should. You should. They're great. I did a really good episode for Frequency where we talked about Hellraiser, which is my favorite horror movie.
Oh my god.
I love
Yes.
Hellraiser. I love it so much.
Taste.
Let's talk branding. Why ghosties? Why boo? How you booing? You know, what got you into horror? Why did you decide to do the how you booing?
Well, listen, Ghosties is actually, and I don't think most people know, but Ghosties is a combination of ghost and besties. So like my really close,
Cute.
yeah. And I figured I would pick my branding as ghost because um it ties in with my name as Poppy Oddly. It's supposed to be more of a meaning of like sometimes we feel invisible within our own community, and ghosts are very transparent. You can't tell if they're there. Sometimes they make a noise and you're like, wait, is something here? That's pretty much why I chose ghosts, like ghosties, as my branding, because it's like I see you, I can see ghosts kind of thing. And I want to celebrate that you're still here. Even though you didn't make it all the way above, you're still here in purgatory. We're just gonna have fun until then, right?
I love that. Who needs
Yeah,
unfinished business? We could just be, you know, ghosts, and we could be
right.
here and we're chilling and all that.
Exactly. And How You Booin', yes, it's a nod to like Wendy Williams, of course. But I figured I would stick with the branding and make everything punny because I am a very punny person. So you've actually heard me say spooktacular.
That was a good one. And
Yeah,
The DMs have just been
yeah,
we've been planning the episode and just sending back puns to each other.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Right. That was cute though. You
That
did
was a
that
good one. I'd
yourself.
say that
That
was
was
a
a
cute
good
one.
one.
Feel
I'm
free to
gonna
take
take it.
it.
Yeah,
Steal it.
trademarked.
Uh-huh.
And to answer what got me into horror, ever since I was a kid, my sister used to like play all these horror movies that I wouldn't even be allowed to watch, but I would because like my parents weren't really around at the time. Um, and I'll never forget. I think the very first movie that like really got me hooked was The Craft.
Cute. I love
And
the craft.
that I hold dear to my heart. I have it on VHS, I have it on DVD, I bought it on Apple TV. Like, listen,
Hmm.
I
For
was
the Gen
so
Alpha
into
in the chat, a VHS.
right. Not VHS cleaner, VHS.
Don't talk about that. I literally have some right in front of me. And not
Oh,
for any reason. It's because my friend's boyfriend owns a company and he produces them. So that he gave me one.
mhm.
It was free. It's just there. I haven't put it in the fridge yet. Yeah, I know. I'm bad. I'm bad. I'm bad.
Please. And yeah, so watching from like The Craft down to like literally Killer Clowns from Outer Space is also another movie. Eight-Legged Freak, which
Love
uh, brought
eight-legged
my
freaks.
brought my phobia to bugs, and I still to this day I don't like bugs. Please do not put one in front of me. I don't even like bug type Pokemon unless it's Shedinja because it's already dead.
I think shouldn't just scare you. I used to be so afraid of cicada shells. Oh my god, they terrified me. Like there's nothing in them, and they're so. They used to always be on like my slide as a kid. I'd be like, wait for me.
No, I can't. No,
Yeah,
wait. Can I share a story? Just a
of
really quick one.
course.
A really
Yeah,
quick
let's
one.
get into it.
So what really secured my phobia of bugs, there was this one time, I was in my bedroom and I was just chilling. I was probably watching, I don't know, the Amanda Show, right, at the
Okay.
time.
Hey.
And right? Amanda. Um, so I had my window open, I was just chilling. My sister comes in, she was like, "Don't move." I was like, "Why?" And I looked to my left, a grasshopper, I shit you not, this big,
Mm-mm,
right next to
mm-mm.
me watching the Amanda Show, like, "Hey, girl," and I was like, "Oh my god!" I grab my textbook and I try to swing at it, and it starts hopping. I'm like, "Oh no." I'm closing the windows. I never opened it ever again after
Bitch,
that.
that was your conscience. Jiminy Cricket was there to like, it was there to lead you through life. And what did you do? Swat a book at her? That was your conscience. She was there to lead you.
Well, I was giving her knowledge with that textbook.
I'm sure. I had a science textbook as a kid that had the biggest picture of a katydid, like a grasshopper on it. And it
Ugh,
always scared me. I hated it. Oh my God. Okay.
ugh.
Before we get to the advice portion, I do just want to really quickly touch on your drag journey because you've been killing it. How long have you been doing drag? What got you into it?
Oh, stop it. But thank you. Well, funny enough, Ivy Molina, who's in chat, they came down here for their birthday in January, and we called it IvyCon. And
Oh,
she's been doing drag for like many years. Um, and we hit it off immediately. This was our first time meeting, but of course we met on Twitch first and like talked and everything. But when we met, there was like this connection, like instant connection. After this one big hug that I gave her, I just knew like that's family. You know what I mean? And the next not her saying many makes me sound so old. Listen, sorry, I saw that and I was like, let me read that.
yeah.
Um, but she like looked at me and asked me, like, hey, you know, I think that, it would be amazing if you were like my drag daughter. And I said, what? Like, I've always been interested in like starting drag. I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know, anything. So I figured, like, oh my God, yes, like I already have this connection with Ivy, and to have a drag mother that can lead me to like success, like that would be amazing. And of course I said yes. I was like, yes, I would love this opportunity to not only like just start drag, but to get to know Ivy more because I think she's so amazing and interesting and cool. And now I love her to death. And I honestly, thanks to her, I wouldn't even like be here with my drag journey,
I love
Like,
that. Do you wanna plug Ivy's socials for the listeners?
yes, please go follow Ivy Molina on twitch.tv/Ivy Molina, and all of her social media is also Ivy Molina. I'm also going to be in a panel with her this Saturday on uh presented by Twitch Lightning Guild, but it's gonna be on the front page of Twitch, which is gonna be crazy.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
wild. Okay, let me see if I can. I'll try to edit this to have it out before then. But if not,
Yes.
then I will link back to the people to check it out.
Exactly. Of course, of course. So yeah, I mean, I got to practice as much as I could. I couldn't do it like every day. But when I got there, I got there and
Amen. It
I
looks
found my
good.
face. Thank you.
Yeah, when you find the face, it works.
I
So
appreciate it.
before we get into this, the last thing I want to ask, what do you hope people gain from hanging out in your streams? I know we touched about the safe space and
Mhm.
about cultivating that. What do you hope people get when they come to a PapiOddly stream?
Honestly, a sense of belonging, to be honest. Like, I know I touched up on it a little bit when I talked about ghosties. Like, you feel invisible even within your own community, which I completely understand myself because, like, I felt like an outcast within my own Latin community because maybe I was too American or too queer and like I don't fit in. And if I'm in a queer community, I'm not white. So, most of the safe spaces are generally white, so they don't really get like my references. And sometimes I'm like too into like weird things like horror and paranormal and not so much in pop culture, at least at the time, right? I felt very outcasted. So what I want from what I want people to gain from hanging out in my streams is just like a sense of belonging. Like, you belong here, I see you. You are now part of this haunted home with us, and you are going to contribute as much flavor to the stream. Like, it's not just me that does all this; it's also you. So,
Nice. That's beautiful. And with that, let's take a break. Welcome back. Wasn't that such a lovely break?
right, it was. I
It
feel
was.
relaxed.
I feel good. I feel good. I feel refreshed, and I'm
Mhm.
ready to give some advice to the girls because we got some questions. Pride Month just started, but the girls are already they're already getting into some mess, which I love. I love.
Mm-hmm.
First question we have. This is from Reggie Gigas. It's a sex and love question, and they write, any thoughts on how to navigate having a low sex drive but actually wanting to have it more? Because, YOLO. Is it a matter of prioritizing it or just making peace with the fact that you're doing things at a slower pace? What do you think?
Let's see. Navigating a low sex drive, but actually wanting to have it more.
Yeah, so they have a low sex drive, but they're like, they want to be out in these streets. It's June, it's warm. They want to be out here like that.
I guess the more important thing would be being comfortable with yourself, because you can have like this high sex drive, but when it gets down to it, you have to be comfortable. You have to know what you want and you have to be confident as well.
Mhm.
So I would say get to, know yourself a little bit more, feel comfortable in your body, know that you're that bitch. And then, you can really go in and like have all the sex you want, like, because if you're just gonna like up your sex drive because it's low and then like that's your only reason, like you can easily get into a situation that you're not like feeling, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna get down to it and you'll be like, you know what, never mind. And and it's okay to say no, just a reminder
Yeah.
in the middle of it. You can change your mind at any point, but just know like you should know like what you want deep inside and like be comfortable and confident. So I hope that answers your question.
For me,
Uh-huh.
I think, a great poet said this once, and I think she said it quite well. She said, is somebody going to match my freak? Is somebody going to match my nasty? And I think, Reggie Gigas, this is what it comes down to, is you need to find somebody to match your nasty. So
Mhm.
even if your sex drive is low, you still want somebody like, I don't think it's about the amount of sex that you're having.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
think for what they're, because, they said they want to have it more. Maybe what they want is more intimate sex, more sex
Oh,
with connection. So, because you could be having sex every day, but that doesn't make it good sex. Just because your sex drive is low doesn't mean you're having great sex if you're trying to have it more. So
clock
I
it.
think instead of focusing on trying to have more sex, it might behoove you to instead try to focus on finding the sex that you really want.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
because and if that is going to the glory hole and sucking a couple dicks, then that could be it. It's different for everybody. So and that and sex at a glory hole can be just as intimate as a tender kissing and loving. It could be. It really is just up to your personal preference, and I think it's up to you to kind of figure out what you like. But I think you said it best. It's okay to say no. It's okay to change your mind during things. I
mhm.
always want you to assert yourself depending on how you're feeling in that moment. Because yeah, not every time is going to be 100%. There have been a couple times I have fully just halfway through a hookup been like, I'm just not feeling it, babes. I'm
Right.
sorry.
This is it.
We gotta
Pull out.
go. Yeah, and also like I talk about this all the time. I feel like I'm on my soapbox, but sex does not have to end in both parties coming or one party coming, or it doesn't have to be penetrative. I think it's important when we talk about sex, especially as queer people, to like dissolve the notion that sex has to be uh penetrative, and then it ends, and include more foreplay, include more fun, embrace
Mhm.
the side. There's lots of stuff that we can do here. It's okay to be uh outside of the norm, because we're queer people. We are outside of the norm, and that's okay. Our norm is different and better.
Correct. Correct. Is somebody gonna match my freak?
Yeah, I
Like,
think
come
that's
on now.
that's what it comes down to, is
Yeah.
Reggie, because you gotta find somebody to match your freak, find somebody to match your nasty.
Can I say that I did a cover of that? And it's on my stream whenever someone raids, and it's just me going, "I've been a nasty ghoul, ghosty. I've been a nasty ghosty. I've been a ghosty ghoul, ghosty. Is somebody gonna match my spook?"
Oh my god, I love this. This is great. Well, Reggie Gigas, send us an update. Let us know how everything goes. If you do end up in these streets, if you do end up at the glory hole, if you make your own glory hole, if you If you just find one good hookup and the two of you really keep going at it, and then you find, because your sex drive might be low, but you might find if you have that really good connection with somebody, you might be down to clown whenever the situation arises,
Somebody or more.
Or multiple people's, group play. That way, if your sex drive's low, you could tap out and they keep
And
going,
then, right,
and then you
like-
don't have to worry about it, Yeah, because we lift each other up. It's Pride Month. It's important that we lift each other up all month.
Get behind me.
and in front, but behind and in front, both,
Under, above, right.
And for anyone that says that I had someone at work the other day go up to one of the dancers, because I work at a go-go bar, so we have dancers every night. And one of them was like, "Why is everyone a bottom? Blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Okay, what does that mean?"
Right.
And they were like, "Well, I'm a bottom." I was like, "Okay, so what now? You can still have fun. There could be bottom on bottom. That could be such an intimate, beautiful relationship. You could have such a beautiful time together. Whether it's turning a chair upside down and sitting on one of you could find."
Excuse me.
It's like, you could play patty cake.
Right.
There are things you could do, and I think it's important to break out of, just break out of the norms.
Exactly. Just bump purses. It's okay.
Bump purses. There's nothing wrong with bump purses.
Right.
I've bumped purses with plenty of sister, and
with plenty of sister. Get out of here.
That makes it sound like I swear. But sometimes it's okay. We have to move on. Let's get into the next question.
Oh, my bad.
You want to read the one from Insta Sleuth?
Got you. This one's from Insta Sleuth. They said, if you've met another gay guy a few times at an exercise class and only exchanged first names, is it fair game to track them down and Insta follow them? Or should you wait and ask for it? What's the etiquette there?
I would wait and ask for it. Unless you have because here's the thing. If you have a lot of mutual friends, like if you met each other, you have a lot of mutual friends, and then you can see it kind of pop up naturally, then follow them. Like if it pops up organically, like if they're in a photo of your friends, or Instagram does that people you may know thing and you see them, sure, follow them. I'm not saying we need to go on a whole deep dive of like, so I know that he's friends with Nick and Nick goes here, so I'm gonna go to the bar's location tag, and if he's not at I think you can, if it happens organically, do it. I don't think it's as super important to do this big deep dive into finding it. You're at the exercise class. Just wait till the next exercise class and then ask for him then. It's very chill.
Right. You can do your research on them, but just don't be, I think it's keep it chill. Y'all, if you already met a few times, there's going to be more times where you guys will see each other. Just ask for it. I think it's weird in general when example, like if my coworkers just randomly follow me and then I'm like, I don't talk to you as often. Like there are certain coworkers that we don't necessarily talk or know each other in like any kind of level. So it's like, why are you following me?
Yeah. Because, and with coworkers, it's another thing. Because it's like, you're just going to try to catch me when I say that I can't cover. And then you're going to be like, well, this bitch was at Wonderland, and like, no.
Right.
Because that's how it happens with coworkers. But I think just wait till the next exercise class. I don't think it's, and it doesn't have to be like this big thing. Like, because if you're like, so they listed the question as sex and love rather than general advice. So this makes me think that they have like a crush on this guy. So it doesn't have to be this big thing like, can I get your Instagram? Can I get your number? Just be like, I think you're really cool. What's your Instagram? It doesn't have to be like a definitive, like I'm asking you on a date type thing.
Right. Yeah.
You can just ask for the Instagram and say, hey sister, or you trying to bump purses later.
Right.
Yeah. I think hunting him down on Instagram might backfire in a way that you're not looking for,
Right. He might pull out of this interaction,
Yeah,
lack of
he
a better
might-
term, but
like, oh, how did he find me?
yeah, I would say just wait and ask for it. The etiquette is to just not cold follow.
Yeah, and I think there are situations where that can work. Like how I said, like if Instagram pops it up there and he's there, and you're like, oh, I know that guy, follow him there. But Yeah, if you have like, because here's the thing: if someone follows me and I see that we have like zero mutuals, that's when I
That's rare
start.
though.
I get a little. I'm like, wait, how did you find me?
Mhm,
How did we
mhm.
get here?
Getting zero, having someone that has zero mutuals is kind of rare. So like,
I
back up.
mean, well, it's either that or it's like I look who they're following and they're following some of my friends, but none of my friends are following them back. Then I'm like,
Oh,
what's
right.
going on here?
I'm connecting the dots.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I also just play it at the workout class. How often is this workout class that you're like, I need it now? Like if it every week, every other week, just
Right.
wait for the next Zumba class and afterwards, maybe do it beforehand before you're all sweaty and can't talk.
Right.
Or you wait till after when you are sweaty if you think he likes that. I don't, when you
Right.
got that nice Zumba pump going on, you
Just be like, hey, I want to grab a smoothie or something and ask him for his Instagram. Like, why not? I know that sounded cheesy, but like sometimes you need like, a power drink real quick right after. And then from there you could ask him, like, hey, want to
yeah.
have our own personal exercise class later? So
Oh.
sometimes it's cheesy, but it could work.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you are trying to ask someone to date, I think after the class, I mean, like, if you do know a smoothie place nearby or something, that is a good
Hmm.
way to kind of
Yeah.
like have a natural, because then it's not like as loaded as a date if you were to straight up ask them like that. It's just a hangout, and then from there you can kind of see out the vibes. Because there are some people where like you have the crush on them because you think they're cool and you want to get to know them more, and then you get to know them more, and then you are like, wait, no, this is just a friend.
Right.
So keep it low stakes, easy to sniff out the vibes.
Right. And again, are they going to match your freak? And that's how you'll know.
Exactly, and I think that's really what this episode might be titled: "Is somebody gonna match my freak?"
Is somebody going to match my spook? Like.
Uh, really quickly in the chat, someone says they could always mention a cute event coming up and ask for their Instagram to send info.
Yeah.
That's another good one. Yeah, like if you get to talking and you kind of like say they're interested in Chapel Roan. I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly.
I always said Chapeau Rowan.
Is it Chappelle Rowan?
I don't know. I don't know
I
if
don't
that's
know.
correct.
Chapel Roan.
Chaperone, Chappelle Rowan.
Chappelle Rowan sounds a little fancier, so I'm gonna go with
Right?
that. Yeah, Chappelle
Right.
Rowan. Yeah, if they're into that and there's like a Chappelle Rowan like at the bar, you can be like, hey, here's this. Let me send on your Instagram. Chappelle Rowan.
Chappelle Rowan.
Is that
Correct. You
not
heard
a
me.
drag name? Is that not? That just sounds like a drag name.
For anyone that's about to do drag, take the name quick.
Yeah. Okay. So in the chat, they're saying it's Chapel Roan.
Oh, oop. Well, I'm saying it's Chappelle Rowan.
Chappelle Rowan is a good drag name though, so I
Yeah.
do think someone should take that.
Do it.
Just say it's there for the take. It Chappelle Rowan. So Insta Sleuth, let us know how it goes. If you get the Instagram, if you end up marrying them, if you go on a date with them, if you end up adopting a dog, having a U-Haul after the first date, let us know. We love updates here.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get enough of them. And also, this goes out for everyone. If you have submitted a question in previous months and you want to send us a little update, send it over at poisontouch.com. We love getting them. And also, the disclaimer that I keep forgetting to do at the top of the episodes, all advice that we give is purely for entertainment purposes.
Mm-hmm.
We are not psychiatrists, therapists, experts. Well, I mean, we might be an expert at some things, but if that comes up, we'll bring that up.
Right.
So yeah, entertainment purposes. Let's move into this next question. This is from Pyro. It is listed under Sex and Love, and they write up top. So this is for those of y'all listening. Trigger warning, it is a mild mention of sexual trauma. So this is your chance now. If you want to dip away for 5-10 minutes, we'll still be, coming back. For those of you listening to the podcast version, I'll put in the show notes when it is appropriate to come back after this question.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been dating my partner for almost 2 years. Next month will officially be our anniversary. Congratulations. And we've been in a long distance relationship. We have a relatively healthy relationship, but I do notice that we sometimes lack in both sexual as well as romantic intimacy, solely because we aren't physically together. I was wondering if you had any tips on how to keep the intimacy alive without it feeling like either of us are getting bored of the same routine, or if we both ran out of ideas to keep our relationship full of surprises without things getting awkward whenever we try to engage in such.
Mhm.
This especially stems mostly on my end since I really struggle with both a lot. Given how I've been through a lot of sexual trauma myself, which makes it harder for me to remain romantic or intimate with them without me feeling extremely repulsed and wanting to push them away, or feeling like I'm sexualizing myself around them and getting irritated when things aren't working because I'm being difficult in the relationship. I still want to grant them the kind of thrill of romance that made us fall in love with each other in the first place. So before we get into the advice, I think you need to have a little more grace with yourself. I don't think you're
Mhm.
being difficult in the relationship. One of my previous guests, the Afrobeast, said this. He says, everyone comes with their own little bag of goodies. And I love,
Mhm.
taking that into every question, because everyone does come with their own little bag of goodies, their own little bag of nuts, as I believe the exact wording that he said on that episode. It's a good episode.
Right.
But yeah, this is your bag of stuff, and you're not being difficult for working through that with your partner, and I think it's up to you to hold space, not just for your partner to help you with that, but also hold space for yourself. Have some grace for yourself.
Mhm.
You're working through it, not everything, Rome wasn't built in a day, girl. It's
Chappelle
okay.
Rome. Right.
Chappelle Rome wasn't built in a Chappelle Roan wasn't built in a day, unless she was an industry plant. I'm not actually too sure about the semantics on that, but
Right.
but yeah, it takes to have some grace with yourself. Um, for me, I think the easiest way, and it's not easy in like a traditional sense because it is going to feel awkward, and that's part
Mhm.
of it. I think working through that awkwardness will help build your connection and foster that connection. So if you're feeling
Right.
awkward, like because you guys are long distance, right? So if you're feeling awkward about phone sex, right? Acknowledge that, say that up front, but also acknowledge that the two of you are actively working toward building something, with each other, whether it's romantically or sexually, and acknowledging that awkwardness, you both, because you're both feeling it, right? You're
Mhm.
both feeling that awkwardness. As long as you call it out and you say we're still going to try this, and then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Then you could try something else. I think naming the awkwardness takes the power away from it and puts it back in both of your hands. And I think that's really important. What would you say to them?
No, I really like that. You took the words right out of my mouth. Just calling it out is literally right. You said, "All right, enough of you." um, I honestly do agree. If you call it out, it definitely makes it comfortable in a sense. Like it's interesting, right? Because it's gonna make you feel uncomfortable to be like, "Oh, haha, this feels weird." But now that you both know that, you can continue and move forward. So like yeah, I mean, you could be, a little flirtatious and spicy like on video cam. Trust me, I've done that many a times. But when you call it out, you get to laugh about it, but then that makes it even more personal and more intimate, and then you get really into it. So
Yeah, because they
yeah.
they mentioned here that they have feelings about sexualizing themselves, and
Yeah.
I think in those moments it's
Mhm.
okay to even talk to your partner about how you're feeling in those times, and
Yeah.
and because the whole point is you want to be comfortable
Yep.
with each other, and sex should be fun, and
Mhm.
intimacy should be fun, like, it shouldn't have all the stress of that. So if you start feeling that stress, it's important
Mhm.
to work through that, both with yourself and with the partner. um, if you are just having trouble even getting to like that kind of talking stage about it,
Mhm.
something that I thought was really cool, I bought this. So my boyfriend and I, when we had like a little Christmas getaway thing, and we bought this little couples game that has like levels of questions, like varying in intimacy.
Mhm.
Um, and so that could be an easy way, because the questions are on there for you, and the two of you just talk about it. That might be an easy way to kind of break the ice between you. And you've been dating for 2 years, so like yes, the ice is broken, but sometimes we need to re-break the ice. It's
Yeah.
important to keep dating your partner, right?
Yep.
So maybe set up like a little date night, get one of these little couples games, and you know crack on a little bottle of wine on FaceTime, and that way the conversations are being had. When that's a little, they have some that are more sexual and some that are just more romantic and based in intimacy like that. In the chat they said, is it we're not really strangers? That's what it's called. I was literally about to go jump into the hallway and grab it, but
Damn clocked.
you saved me from running away. Yes, it is we're not really strangers. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. It's like a red
Mhm.
card game thing, and not all the questions are winners. I mean, like, we The way we played it is we went to this like winery. We were like out in the woods, so we went to this little winery and got
Ah,
a couple bottles, and then we
mhm.
got we
That's
got
so
like
cute.
then we got fried chicken
Fried chicken.
because we were hungry. We were hungry. It was giving to strangers, except without the like nobody was knocking on our door saying is Tamra home, but it was kind
Right.
of giving to strangers.
Was the
Uh,
chicken lovely?
the chicken was lovely. The chicken was lovely. Yep. I just think I would survive the strangers. I don't know. I think I'm built different.
Okay.
We
Who's
could
that
talk.
behind you? No, I'm kidding.
And that's the thing. Who's that behind me? Because do people not have that sixth sense where you can tell someone is behind me? I can always feel when somebody's looking at me or behind me.
Hmm.
And the Strangers Chapter 1, for those of you that haven't seen it, there's a scene, they're like in this shed and it's dark. And the pinup girl is right behind them, just vibing.
I would have sensed that immediately. I
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
don't
Yeah.
feel that? You don't feel that?
Listen, I'm born and raised in New York. I know when someone's looking at me and I
Exactly.
can sense danger.
Uh-huh.
I'm not Spider-Man, but I am a New Yorker. So,
Maybe it's just an East Coast thing. I don't know.
oops.
Maybe it's
I don't know.
the Jersey in me.
Oop. Well, yeah, I'm a Jersey boy now, but still.
uh, okay, Dave, that has nothing to do with pyro.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That was
My
just me
bad.
talking about the
We
strangers.
segued. Yeah.
We segued. Sorry, I love a tangent, but yes, maybe a game like that could help. I
Mhm.
think truly the crux of this advice is comfort, calling out that awkwardness, and
Mhm.
working through that together, um, and being vulnerable. And these are like it's
Mhm.
tough. These are tough conversations to have. It is difficult to be vulnerable, even with someone you've been together for years. I think it's important to try to take the piss out of a bit and just try to enjoy each other's company.
Correct.
Um,
Well, if I can add one more thing.
of
Um,
course, always.
um, with more years you're spending time with your partner, I think the important thing to remind yourself is that we're forever changing. So we don't always know ourselves for like
Hmm.
100% because we're always changing and there's always something new that you learn. That goes same for your partner. So like just because you've been with them for so many years, you could still learn. You can still learn more about them. You could still have more intimacy. You could still have more stories about them, fall in love with them even deeper. So like, yeah, like the questions like that helps by a lot, like
Yeah, I
have
think
that
that
conversation.
that is important, and that's like, when I said like you have to continue dating your partner. That's like really
Mhm.
what it's about. Is like you're
Correct.
continuously learning things about each other. Like me and my boyfriend, we're like Tuesdays or Thursdays every week. We try to have a little date night, even if it's like something at home. I'm not saying we always have to spend money on it. We
Right.
just try to do something where we like actively set the time aside to like be with each other and talk about things that we don't, like just really carve out that time and be intentional with it. And I
Yeah.
think that'll help bring that kind of spark that made y'all fall in love with each other in the first place. Because I know that's what they wrote
Mhm.
towards the end. And I also, so they write, I want to grant them the kind of thrill of romance that made us fall in love with each other in the first place. And sometimes romance isn't thrill. Sometimes romance is cuddling up on the couch. Sometimes romance is a phone call.
Mhm.
Sometimes romance is waking up in the morning with a cup of coffee. Sometimes romance is, you're on FaceTime cooking ramen together. Romance isn't always thrill, and that's okay. Sometimes romance is just comfort. And it's okay. It's important to know that not every type of romance needs to be like the whirlwind romance and the
Mhm.
fire and the fireworks and the lightning of it all, and then
I'm
like
flying. I'm really
yeah,
flying.
it doesn't always have to be that. So
I
yeah,
love that. Well said.
yeah. So let us know how it goes. Wishing the best for y'all. And if you do get that game, or if you get something else and you just use that as like an aid, let us know. I'm always curious about these types of things, and I love updates. So the are you reading the next one, or am I reading it?
Oh, sorry. I was like looking at chat for a second.
No, I forgot. Did I read Pyro?
You read Pyro.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
reading
okay.
and my favorite word too.
Uh,
Um this one's from Goon City. Mm.
oh, the sex and
Topic
love.
sex and love, right. Okay, so Goon City said, I jerk off probably 3 to 4 times a day, every day. At least one of those times, almost every day, is a full on 1 hour plus edge session. And it's a fun way to pass some time. but I'm starting to think I'm investing a little too much of my time into me time. When does stroking turn into addiction? I still hook up with other guys regularly. Thank you. Love the pod. Oh,
Thank you. That's very sweet.
look at that.
This is an interesting question because
That is Goon City.
that is good. It's a lot of good.
That's a lot of Goon. Good for
1 hour
you.
edge session. I love that.
Yeah.
I do not have the time for that. If I did, I probably would. But
Correct.
yeah, I'm like, some once a day is usually good for me. And some people have told me that that's a lot. So I think it really is based on who you are, you know?
Yeah.
So it's 3 to 4 could be just normal for you. Now, I think if it starts becoming a detriment, right? If that hour plus edge session becomes a detriment, like you're like, oh shit, I have to go to the gym, I have to get gas, I have to do things. Like if you have things that you are actively having to do that you're putting off so that you can sit there and
Goon.
jerk your peanuts,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if I think that's when it's time to start reevaluating our relationship with our me time, right?
Yeah.
Because it's if you have the time to do everything you need to do in the day, plus have your little edge sesh, and then 3 other times where you're jorking it, the props to your mama. But yeah, when it becomes that detriment, that's when I'm like, all right, let's.
Yeah.
And then how would you even reevaluate it? Like, how would you? That's kind of what I'm trying to think of. Like, let's say it is a detriment. How do we work past that? Other than like sheer willpower, right? You know, and just being like, I can't jerk off right now. I'm not going to. What do you think?
To me, yeah, I would agree. Like that does sound like a lot, but their normal is different than my normal. So, that's valid. When does stroking turn into addiction? Well, I mean, I'm not a professional, just a disclaimer,
Exactly,
but I
like we said
think
up top,
right.
we're entertainment purposes only.
When it becomes an addiction, I feel like for me, you need it regardless of the environment. So like if you were like literally gonna go get gas and you're just like, oh, I need to pull this one right now, and you do it, then I feel like then that maybe may have crossed the line, because you can get in real trouble for that. Ain't nothing wrong with public intimacy as long as
Yeah,
you are safe with it, and but I think that's when it becomes an addiction. And I do agree, like if you have other things to do and you're dedicating too much time for that, especially since they mentioned that they hook up with other guys regularly, I would probably start, if you feel like it's a problem yourself, I probably would start, reducing it by one, because if it is
yeah,
an addiction, you can't just simply stop cold turkey, like that's never going to work, right?
exactly. Nor is that like the healthiest thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. So when the priorities get out of whack, exactly. So like what Nick
Hmm.
said.
Yeah, like if you are one of those people that like, yeah, every time you see a bathroom, you have to jerk off in it, like, and you got to pull out your little jerk off bathroom card. No, it's then we might have an issue.
Or at work.
Yeah, or at work. Yeah, like I think it's important to recognize the time when it is appropriate to do so. And
Hmm.
like, yeah, nothing wrong with some public play. Public play can be fun,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's important to recognize, have that like moment with yourself where you're lucid. You're like, wait a second, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? I don't need to be doing this right now.
Hmm. If it
So
takes
yeah,
over, then
but yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not up to us to,
Yeah.
tell you when it becomes an addiction, because we just can't. We're not qualified to do that. I do think this is something that you could probably talk with a therapist about. I mean, that's true with most of these questions. I think that like goes without saying. The therapist is always the first step for advice
Of course.
in working through things, and then we come here for content. But working through that with a therapist could probably help figure out the reasons why. But if you just have a very healthy libido, maybe you could show a couple things to Reggie Gigas from earlier, who has the low sex drive.
Hmm.
Trade off some of that.
Or find something that kind of, well, for lack of a better phrase, well, I think this is the most perfect phrase. Find something that actually matches your freak without freaking yourself, right?
Right.
Like if you have something that also gives you like miss serotonin, right? Like you can replace that
Hmm.
activity with another activity that makes you excited and happy. So like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or maybe even delayed gratification because you like
yeah,
edging, right? So do you like a delayed gratification? What if you're like, I'm only going to edge on these times. Like make it a reward for yourself rather than something
yeah,
that you need to do. Be like, if I get all of my stuff done, then I'll allow myself to edge. Or even if that's like with somebody, you're like one of the hook because you know you're hooking up with people regularly. One of the hookups you're gonna have that's gonna be one of your what do they call them? Like a milking session?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
You can
gosh,
find yourself a little farmer and just
you know, not the sound. Goodbye. That was too accurate.
I know. Oh God, sorry. That was truly something.
Cancel.
I know. Well, we're gonna do one more, and then we're going to take another break, and we're gonna do the advice to the stars segment, where we give advice to celebrities, pop culture figures, the people that damn well need it but didn't ask for it. This last question for this month, and if you submitted a question, you're like, I didn't hear my question yet. It will be happening next month. So I always keep a bank, and everyone's question eventually does get answered. So sometimes we just don't have the time because 3-hour episodes are a lot. So yeah, the questions will be answered. Sometimes they just get pushed to next month. Okay.
Mhm.
This last question is from Anon, and they write into story time, and they say, recently ended a friendship. I felt really bad about it until I heard them talking badly about me in front of mutual friends. Now I feel like I've made the right choice. And to this, I have one thing to say. I need you to write back in, and I need you to actually give us a story time.
Oop.
One sentence isn't gonna cut it, mama.
Mhm.
I'm detail oriented.
Mhm.
I need details. I need to know what kind of mess they were talking about. And I'm saying within reason. Like, let's
Yeah.
change cities, let's change names, let's keep it anonymous. But I want to make sure that we want to hear the good story. I want to hear what were they talking badly about? You know? Well, I am a visual learner too, so if you want to send me some photos in the DMs, I'll keep them anonymous.
Ooh.
We don't gotta send them to nobody. I'll just read the story time.
Send receipts.
I think this is an interesting story. I want to know more. I want to know how the friendship ended. I want to know how they were talking bad.
What
How
was it
did
like before?
yeah, how did the other friends react to them talking badly about you? Did they come to your defense? That's what I want to know.
Oh, should we add another question since that was a
That was kind of
that was
short.
short? Yeah.
I guess we could do. We're gonna skip ahead to Cubic because that's another short one, and we're coming up on that hour mark. So
Oh, true.
yeah. So you want to read that one?
Yeah. This one's from Cupid, and it's general advice. Feeling lost and behind in life among my peers. How do I motivate myself to keep trying for jobs and bettering myself? Mm,
This is something that I often struggle with
mm,
because when I was living in Brooklyn, I was working at a news company. I was a video producer. Like I was like, this is my career. I'm gonna
mhm.
get started. Then the pandemic hit, and I like lost all of that motivation, and I quit. And then I moved to Chicago, and then I started bartending because bartending is easy money. It's good money. I'm like still fulfilled. I still feel happy, but sometimes I do wonder like, when should I ever go and try for quote unquote jobs well within my wheelhouse, right?
Mhm.
For me, the thing that gets me is if you don't do it, nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
And that's what it really comes down to. Like, you have to find, and even if that is scrounging it up off the fucking ground, nobody's going to do it for you, And that you need to find whatever it is to catapult you into doing it. And I know applying for jobs is the most soul sucking, demoralizing, and demeaning process. I hate it. You should be smart with it. I'm not saying you have to do 30 job applications in a day.
Right.
Let's bookmark some. Let's do them a little bit at a time. Have a couple templates for cover letters. For me, I always have one, and make sure, they're using a lot of AI to scope through resumes and stuff. Make sure you put the little white text at the bottom, or you just copy all that shit in like 0.3, in like 3 size font. Put that at the bottom. Do whatever you can to get past whatever bullshit AI they're scanning resumes with.
Right.
Have that boring resume that you send through there, and then have a cute resume that you bring into the interview. That I always find that to be very important, at least for me, because I do work in the visual arts. If I'm doing video producing and graphic design and all that kind of stuff, have the cute resume that you bring in, into the interview. But yeah, no one's gonna do it for you. And that whatever motivation you can find. For me, it is the fact that no one's doing it for me. No one's gonna adult for you. You're the adult in your own life. You're the master of your own fate. For me, that's enough to get me to do at least a couple just to get it started. What about you?
Yet again, taking the words right out of my mouth about when you were like, no one's gonna do it for you, so you have to get up and do it. That is probably like the biggest thing that you need to focus on. But also keep in mind when you're applying for jobs and you're doing things like maybe not every day, but at least you're doing it, give yourself a little pat in the back, like you're doing something about it. Like it's really easy to feel lost when you don't hear anything back and you feel like everybody's doing, XYZ. But like you have to know within yourself that you are making the effort to find these jobs, to apply, to writing even a resume before you even applied. Like that's doing something. You know what I mean? So how do you motivate yourself? I mean, that it all depends on you because everybody gets motivated differently, right? So if you are tired of feeling lost, right, with that feeling that you have within yourself, you could use that to your advantage. It's like reclaiming it, like how we
Reclaiming my time.
reclaiming my time. Exactly. To motivate yourself to be like, you know what, I'm tired of feeling lost. I'm just going to do the damn thing. I'm going to start applying to here. Give myself a break. Next day, I'm going to apply again and again.
Yeah.
Like as long as you're doing the damn thing, then you should be really proud that
Reward yourself.
Yeah, you should be really proud and reward yourself for making the effort.
What we told for Goon City. Do a couple job apps and then reward yourself with that hour-long edge session.
Exactly.
Yeah, for me, it's always gaming. Like I'll do a couple job apps and then I'll be allowed to play the game that I want to play. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or if there's a book I really want to read, I'll do a job app. I'll rewrite a cover letter. Blah blah blah. Then I'll be able to read the book. You got to set yourself little milestones to get you there because it is hard. But they also say, in addition to jobs, bettering themselves. So how do you find motivation to better yourself?
Wait, you're asking me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were asking them. I was like,
no. I want to hear what you have to say. I have a couple options for them, but I want to hear what you have to say.
How do I motivate myself?
Yeah, to do better. To just better yourself, whether it's streaming, whether it's drag, whether it's, just life in general.
What motivates me is literally like the people that I care about in front of me. I always have this fear, and I've told them before, but I always have a fear of like disappointing anybody, like that I care about. Which is why I'm always nonstop working. Like whether I'm working at my full-time job and then coming straight here to work on stream stuff or right after, I'm always constantly working because I don't ever want to disappoint anyone, not disappoint myself. So I motivate myself by saying like, once I see the work that I just put in, I get so happy to see like it being put in place, and I get so proud, and I'm like, oh my God, I did that. Like it's a reward within itself whenever like I make a reel or I make a post or whatever. It's like, oh, I did the damn thing. And from there, like, I get the serotonin, the drag queen. And that's what pretty much motivates myself. Nope. That's what pretty much motivates me, is because I get excited and then y'all get excited. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing something right. Like that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, for me, so they write about how they feel lost and behind among their peers. And I think it's important to realize like judging yourself and sizing yourself up amongst your peers doesn't help anyone. You know what I mean? It doesn't help yourself. It doesn't help them. It's important to realize that like, you have to do it for yourself. However, I get inspired by my peers, like the podcasters that I have on my show, the Twitch streamers that I have on my show, the drag queens, the go-go dancers, any of the people that I have on my show, hearing them talk about the things that they like, hearing them give advice to other people, because I think everyone has advice to give, I think everyone comes with such a different experience from their own life. Those types of things inspire me. And it's not so much that I'm sizing myself up against them and trying to compare and then feeling like I'm behind them. It's about inspiring them and seeing someone else do something that they really enjoy and doing their own damn thing and being like, I want to do that for myself. Not because I want to be as good as them, because, you know, we can all be good together. You know, we can all lift each other up. It's about bettering yourself for your own sake. And I think that's once you reach that point, and I hate to make it sound very much like pick yourself up by your bootstraps, because that's not, I hate that. I hate that. But it's important to want to do things for yourself and better yourself for yourself. You know, like I go to the gym for me. You know, I make my reels because I know if I don't make my reels, no one's going to see my shit. You know, like I do those things for me, and it's important to better yourself. It's important to better yourself so that people could, you know, you want people to see you doing well. You want to do well yourself. You want to feel good.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, when you put that reel out, you said, I did that. Like, that's a great feeling.
It is.
Or like when I see one of my friends, like rebrand their podcast and have new graphic stuff, I'm like, oh, let me go work on some graphics real quick. You know, like it's that type of, that's that inspiration, you know?
That's actually perfect, because I didn't even get a chance to mention that. Like, yes, it's rewarding to have people excited about your content, but it's also really amazing to see your friends be an inspiration to you as well. Because right now, I have a lot of friends that are winning right now, and I love to see that. And they're working on like X, Y, Z, and now I'm like, ooh, like now I want to like work just as hard for me and to keep making myself proud and making everybody else proud. So, well said. Well
Yeah, it's
said.
important stuff. That was a good question to end on, I think.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a nice little bookend.
Mhm.
So we're gonna take a break. We are back from our break. How are you holding up?
I'm pretty good. I'm having fun. Thank you for
Good.
having me.
Is this your like first podcast kind of thing outside of streaming, or?
Uh, I would say this is like my second. Yeah, second. Well, this is more podcast, and like it was a stream and podcast, so this is my first time of doing something like that. The other time, it's more like a Twitch series that eventually becomes a podcast. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
I love a good old Twitch series. I listen to a lot of, because like as much as I love watching the video version, sometimes I'm just a little busy, so sometimes I'll just have it on the back. For me, a lot of like the Twitch podcasts I listen to are like around Marvel Snap. It's like I love Marvel Snap. It's my favorite card game.
Please.
Oh God, it feels so nerdy saying that. But yeah,
That.
yeah, because I'm like, you're doing it really well. I'm like, I know obviously you Twitch stream all the time, so like I had no worries about you being on camera and talking,
Liven it up and stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, you're giving it. This has been a great episode so far.
Thank you.
We are here for our second segment, Advice to the Stars, where we give advice to celebrity pop culture figures, people in the media that didn't ask for advice, but damn well need it. We got a couple things to cover today, so we're going to keep it moving. The first one is the Pope.
Mhm.
Are you aware of the frociagine of it all?
No, I don't know. I'm not aware of that.
Let me tell you about this.
Okay.
For those of you not in the know, so the Pope was recently in a meeting with some bishops and cardinals, all types of church people,
Okay.
and they were trying to urge him, because he's like the progressive Pope, right? They're trying to urge him to allow gay men to be priests. What does he say to that? He says, listen, we should not do that, because gay men are more likely to lead a double life and, live that double life in secrecy. And then he goes on to say, to be honest, there's already a lot of frociagine happening in the seminaries. And frociagine translates roughly to faggotry. So he's like, he's basically saying, y'all are already fucking enough in the seminaries. I don't think we need to encourage it. Which is a crazy thing to say.
That's a crazy ass statement.
It's a crazy statement because not only is it him acknowledging how many gay people there are in the church, it's him saying, y'all are fucking, and I know it. We don't need more of that. And the advice I have for him this Pride Month is, and then the other part of this is that Italian people were chiming in and saying frociagine is kind of like the type of thing that you really would only hear around like gay circles. Like it's not something that like straight people would use,
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is he queer himself?
Yeah, because like when was the last time you heard a straight person say this faggotry?
Yeah.
this Pride Month, I think the Pope needs to come out. I think that's the advice. Is
Come
the
on, we're not
Pope?
gonna jump you.
We're not gonna jump you. You know, come out. Just come out. It's okay. Like you said, there's lots of frotchagine happening in the seminaries. You know, I heard they're taking it in the rectory.
No,
So
you crossed the line.
I can't think of another church pun. No. But yeah,
Oops.
yeah, you just need to come out, Pope. That's okay.
You gave no fucks. None.
None.
N-U-N.
And also, like, I was listening to some news stuff about it and like other people, and the church has a history of sending queer people to the church. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like a royal and, you know, you have a queer kid that you can't marry off to preserve your line. It's like Game of Thrones. What do you do with the kid that you can't do anything with? You send him to the wall, except the wall is the church. So what do you do with gay Jon Snow? You send him to the church to become a priest, or you know, like, so of course there's gonna be lots of gays in the church.
Right.
Because y'all keep sending them there because you don't want to deal with your gay kids. So don't be surprised when the frotchagine is happening down in the barrack or in the rectory, okay?
Right. Just that word. It just sounds like a spaghetti.
It does sound like
Right.
a pasta.
Chicken Alfredo with the
Yeah.
frotchagine, please.
Let me get the frotchagine Alfredo. Yes. Thank you. I would eat a frotchagine. Maybe I already have.
Welcome to Goon City.
Goon City with the frotchagine.
Right.
Do you have anything to say to the Pope and his newfound gay lifestyle?
Right. I was gonna say you better be queer, because if you're not, then we're actually jumping you for saying that.
Then we're actually jumping you, you know. Because that like, why does it come off kind of like that is the type of joke I would make around my friends? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Y'all are already gay enough. We do not need to be incentivizing it. Like,
right. Was there a hand gesture involved when he said it? Like, there's a lot of.
I mean, the Pope is in like wigs and hats and dresses every single day. That's a sister right there.
It's time to come out.
It's time. This is this Pride Month.
You're in drag.
Yeah. When Roman Pride is presented by Pope John Paul Francis, whatever.
Chappelle Roanne.
Yeah, right. Chappelle Roanne. Bring her to the rectories. Bring Chappelle Roanne. Like, you know how Barbra Streisand was singing inside? No, not Barbra Streisand. What's her name? The movie with the witches.
The Craft.
No, the other movie with the witches. Bette Midler.
Bette Midler, yeah.
So Bette Midler started her career singing in gay bathhouses.
Correct.
The Pope needs to bring Chappelle Roanne to the rectory, because now that the Pope has confirmed that the seminaries are just gay bathhouses, we need to start bringing the stars out there. Bring Chappelle Roanne out to the seminaries. Now that the seminaries are inseminating,
right?
Now that we have confirmation, bring Lady Gaga out there. Let her sing Judas in front of the.
Right. I was just going to say she should sing Judas now.
Exactly. And I don't want to hear not a word, because the Pope, you know how gay shit is.
Yeah.
So it's time to start embracing it. I think this is a good time for a rebrand for
a rebrand.
A rebrand. Yeah, the Pope is in his rebrand era. Moving forward. I did just want to touch on some Pride Month stuff, because it is Pride Month, and it's a busy month for lots of people for lots of reasons. For me, it is the month where I make my rent for like the next couple of months. I make like bartending, Pride, you just make all this money. Generally, what advice do you have for all types of people going into Pride Month, whether it's straight people, whether it's queer people, whether it's people on Twitter? What advice do you have to give to the girls this Pride?
My advice for Pride Month is come in with an open mind, because you're going to see all types of people. It's not just one certain one-dimensional, group of people in Pride. We're celebrating everybody, right? And another thing I would say is if you're going to be an ally, be an ally. Don't just be there with like stereotypes in your mind, looking at queer people saying yes queen, or bringing your straight boyfriends over to pride and have them be uncomfortable or pretend to like be queer baiting. Like, don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't do
if you're
that.
bringing them, make sure they understand the kind of space they're going into and respect that.
Hmm.
That's all I'm asking.
Hmm.
There's some people on Twitter who are like, no, like bi women can't bring any straight men to Pride, and I'm like, listen, because I've brought
Yeah.
straight friends to Pride. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I brought my straight girlfriends to Pride. Pride is a public event. You can't keep
Hmm.
people from going.
Correct.
I do think it's important when you're bringing people who are not in community to, before you get there, just have the talk. This is the kind of place we're going. You might see this, this, and this. I need y'all to be open minded. I need you to be respectful, first off. You know what I mean? And just understand the space you're going to. This is not your house. So
Hmm.
treat it like you're in someone else's house,
You're the
treat it with
guest.
respect. You're the guest here. And
Hmm.
so I think that's important when you're bringing people who aren't in community, or people who just, even people who are in community, like who just don't have experiences at Pride or have never been to one. I think it's always important to just remind people, double check people, and make sure that everyone can have a good time, because that's really what it's about. Pride is about celebration. It's about liberation. It's about fighting. Is the fight that has been happening for years and is still ongoing to keep our
Hmm.
rights, to advocate for those in our community. And I think it's important to make sure that we can still do all that while having fun.
Correct.
My advice to the girls, because I work in a bar, please, I understand we all want to have a good time. Handle your liquor, know your limit. I'm not saying you can't get trashed. Get
Right.
trashed within reason, right?
Hmm.
The point where I have to start calling ambulances, I hate having to call the cops to my bar. Never want to have to do that. Know your limits. Know when you should stop drinking. Accept water. If people are trying to give you water, drink the
The
water.
water.
Drink the fucking water. If you're doing extracurricular activities, if you're on some drugs, test your shit. Test your drugs. Make sure you're getting them from a reputable source. Also, know your limits with those.
Hmm.
It's okay to have fun. I want us all to have fun. Do your stuff. Do it smart, though. I want to make sure we all get out of here alive. I want to make sure that no one is comatose. So that as a bar worker, I think that is important to say. And also as someone who works at a go-go bar, keep your hands
Hmm.
to yourself unless you have money, and even then approach with respect. And if they
Yep.
say they want you to smack their ass and you give them a couple dollars and they let it happen, do it then. But I don't need y'all trying to finger someone's butthole with a $1 bill. The dancers deserve more than that.
Dang.
Okay.
I didn't know that was happening. But to sum it up, be mindful as to why you were invited into the section.
Be mindful of what, literally, like
Yes.
if you're bringing your straight friends to Pride, let them know. Be mindful of why you were invited to the Pride.
Right. And then just sit.
And we're sitting.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For people on Twitter, I'm like, we're rattling it off. People on
Hmm.
Twitter with the kink discourse,
Oh,
with the
God.
straight boyfriends at Pride discourse,
Hmm.
all the discourse. I'm over it. I'm tired of it. And I think the thing that sums it up the best, we talked about this beforehand when we were off camera,
Hmm.
that post that said, what are you going to do if you see kink at Pride? What are you going to do if you see someone asexual at Pride? Are you going to say something to them? Or are you going to clam up like when you have to order Chinese food on the phone? Clock that.
Fuck that tea.
That's what it comes down to, because really, y'all just like to argue online. And that's fine. Arguing can be fun, right? Great.
Hmm.
I think it comes to a point when every year we're rehashing the same kink at Pride discourse. It's exhausting.
Literally.
It is exhausting. Like I don't even want to like get into it really that much because I just get so angry talking about it. I'm like,
That's a whole episode within itself.
truly a whole episode. Maybe that'll be
And more.
maybe I'll make it a Patreon exclusive or something. We just had IML here in Chicago, which is the International Male Leather Competition.
Uh-huh.
So we really just had a whole big kink event in Chicago
Oh.
over over last week. So last weekend was full of kink at Pride basically, and I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm having a great time. Everyone's in leather, we're all good.
Mhm.
Pups are being walked around and stuff. It was great.
Right.
But in the back of my head, I'm like, I just know Pride discourse, kink at Pride, it's coming. I'm scared. I'm so tired of it.
Someone's gonna be like, why are they dogs?
And you know what? If not to quote the fracking, but if them
Oop.
bitches not paying your bills, pay them bitches
And
don't
bitches don't
mind. Pay
mind.
them bitches don't mind,
Exactly.
you know?
Please.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about a little thing that I found on the internet today. It's called Pokeverse. For those of you who have not heard anything about it, that's fair. I didn't know anything about it until this morning. PapiOddly knows nothing about it right now. I'm about to get into it. Are you familiar with the Tumblr convention that happened years ago, Dashcon?
Yeah.
And are you familiar with the Willy Wonka AI convention immersive
Yes.
experience that happened a couple months ago?
Mm-hmm.
Combine that, Dashcon, Willy Wonka experience, and combine that with the Pokemon universe. In the
That didn't happen.
Philippines,
Oh no.
they tried to set up this convention. It happened over the past couple days. It's a 3-day event. It's called Pokeverse. They promised all these things. They had a whole map with Artist Alley and all types of, plushies for sale and people's, collections and art and statues and whatnot and guests and classes and panels to learn how to draw Pokemon and draw Fakemon and all this types of stuff. And what happened?
What?
A nearly empty warehouse with a couple of inflatable games that weren't even Pokemon related. It was like a bull, like ring toss game. A ball pit.
No, not a ball pit.
A ball pit. The Artist Alley was a couple of really small tables set up, and there were like only a couple of artists there. I think a lot of people that were supposed to be there got treated badly by the organizers, and so they ended up pulling out.
Dang.
They managed to get 2 headlining hosts, which is the guy who sung the Pokemon theme song. I forget his name. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry. And
the voice actor for Ash in the Pokemon anime, the original voice actor. So they managed to get like 2 big names for this convention. And apparently those 2 big names were like very professional and like they really tried their best to give people their money's worth. Yeah. Because the other thing is, so in the Philippines, most conventions apparently don't cost over like $9 to enter. It's like, if it costs over $9, $9 American dollars. Yeah. So it's like Filipino, like 500 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So if it costs over that amount, it's commonly expected that you're going to get something more, whether it's like you get a plush or a hat or you get something with it. They were charging all this plus more, and then we're like promising discounts to like kids under 12, but then on the website it was actually kids under 5, and then it was actually toddlers under 3 feet, and
what the hell?
Like the ticketing was a whole entire mess that they couldn't figure out. Mm-hmm. People were on the first day, people were giving wristbands for all 3 days, but the wristbands for tomorrow were supposed to be green, but all they got were 3 red wristbands. So how are they going to get in tomorrow? And it was like this whole like basically this clusterfuck of a convention, which, like I said, culminated in a ball pit, a couple of inflatables, and they had a starter wall where you could take a picture with your favorite starter. There was 1 Charmander, 1 Bulbasaur, 1 Squirtle, like a single plush on a table that you could take a photo with.
A plush?
And there was like a little background. Like it wasn't like a full life, like, like it would be cool if it was a life-size statue of like a Squirtle that you could take a picture with, right? Yeah. Not that. It was a single plush on a table that you could take a photo with in front of a backdrop. And that was their starter wall to start your adventure. So yeah, Pokeverse, I found on this rabbit hole. My advice to them, y'all need to take this Wonka route and give everybody their money back. Y'all are going to be in the hole. You need to give every single person that got scammed by y'all their money back. Oh, I forgot the worst part. They were sponsored by the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And so on the second day, they had a cosplay competition. And then after the cosplay competition, they brought up a bunch of terminally ill children onto the stage and then made them introduce themselves and like just made a whole pony show about these terminally ill children on stage, which is just highly inappropriate. Like, y'all are scamming everybody, and then you're gonna do this.
That's disrespectful as hell.
Super disrespectful. So this was a whole big mess. So yeah, y'all need to take the Willy Wonka route and give everybody their damn money for the unknown.
Oh, God.
So yeah, I know you don't know anything about Pokeverse, so you don't have much advice to give on them. But I at the very minimum, these bitches need to get their money back.
Send me the link. I'm about to fall into that rabbit hole and check it out.
Here, let me find the thread that I So the thread that I read, one of them was from at Binturita. That's Binturita. Right now, their name is Rita was at Pokeverse, and they it was a whole mega thread. Here, I'll try to put this picture over the video so that everyone can see it. But for you, that's what we're dealing with here.
No, that's horrible.
That's what it comes down to.
That's horrible.
Yeah, so Pokeverse, y'all are sick in the head. Oh, and the other two major sponsors were a company called Caliscope, which is an NFT company based in Dubai,
Oh, God.
and a company called Frigga, which is a Lucky Charm shops that sells like feng shui objects, and they were like one of the only two like tables that you could buy stuff at. It was like this feng shui stuff. It wasn't even like Pokemon related. They were like selling just zodiac charms.
Oh,
so yeah, Pokeverse, damn mess. Terrible. Oh my God. So yeah, I just had to share that with y'all because I'm sure more stuff will be coming out about this over the next couple of days on Twitter and things like that. They need to pay all of the artists that they screwed over. They need to give everybody their money back. I don't even know how to handle the Make-A-Wish stuff.
Yeah,
that is
just disrespectful as hell. Yeah. And getting two big names too, and for them to just still be professional, kudos to them. But like
to still do like the guy still came and he sang the Pokemon theme song, and you know they still had signing tables and stuff. Like they were doing their thing. But can you imagine being like an artist like that, you know, and you're used to doing conventions, yeah, like sure you're probably at other stuff, and you know how it normally goes. You walk in, you see this empty warehouse with a couple of inflatables, a ball pit, and then you see your table tucked away in the corner. I would have walked out, but I understand that they are professionals and they said people paid to come here. They're going to try to give them a show. And I can appreciate that. So to them, I have nothing to say. But to the organizers, they attract all the ire. That's the
refund.
Exactly. And then the last thing I want to touch on today, Trump got convicted. All 34 counts of that hush money trial. Shout out to Stormy Daniels. That's the diva. You know, as we know, my other podcast, Baby Daddies, where I review Stormy Daniels' reality show, we're living our life over there. So shout out to Stormy. Trump, just stop. I think it's time to just cut it down. It's time to we're over it. But the thing is, I am still nervous. Even though he got convicted, I am still nervous that this is going to fuel his fan base.
Yeah, like a riot.
Because the fact that he's like still eligible to run,
which is crazy.
Why
would we want that?
I think this is going to like spur on his base in like almost a martyr type sense. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to silence us, blah 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 blah, in a way that I just I am nervous about going forward. So advice for everyone else is really let's get out there and make sure that we can keep this motherfucker out of office. Not that Biden's doing a good job either, because he's truly dropping the ball when it comes to Gaza every single day. And it's important to call out all of the politicians. But yeah, anything we can do to keep that orange man out of office. Truly terrifies me. Orange Manta. Terrifying.
Orange drink, if you know you know.
Orange drink, if you know you.
There's the door, bitch. Get out of here.
There's the door, bitch. Yeah.
Right. That's my advice. There's your prison cell.
There's the door, bitch. There's not room for everybody. Yeah. Stay your ass home.
Stay in your prison cell.
Pisses me off so much. But this is a little win. We'll take a little win. Take a little win where we can get it, you know?
The fact that he could still run is crazy after all that, too.
That's crazy. When people who have felony charges like can't even vote.
So like, why can they run for president? Like that makes no sense.
Felony charge to run for president. That's crazy.
Right. Like,
that's insane. I think if they're going to allow him to run, they need to change it to allow people with felonies to vote.
Right, literally, if you're gonna do that, like, this is just you're
Just tit
being
for
biased
tat.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just tit for tat. Let it happen.
Right.
And I feel like some people would be like, you really want convicted people to vote? And not everyone with a felony is a fucking axe murderer. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
there
Like,
are people who have not had their right to vote, due to like something that they did in their like, their early 20s or their childhood. Like the
mhm.
people who are just trying to make up for mistakes and still are not allowed to take part in the American process, and that's messed up.
Right. And yet you're worried about that, but you're not worried about somebody that's about to run for president who also has felony charges. Like,
Yeah, like let's I feel like
priorities.
we're losing the plot here a little bit. Come on
Yeah.
now.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, this is obviously like a longer conversation that I could
Mhm.
probably do a whole episode about, but I just feel like we had to take that moment to celebrate, take our little wins, but also let's not lose focus.
Right.
Let's
Mhm.
realize that how this could affect things going forward in November, and really gotta do the work to both pressure our own politicians to do better and
Mhm.
put pressure on the Republicans to step down.
And
So
be
yeah,
very cautious about their fan base as well.
yeah, because their fan base, I feel like they're gonna be emblazoned kind of to really act out.
They already stormed the
So
Capitol.
exactly, what's stopping them from doing anything else?
Right. And they got away with it.
And
So
they got away with it. Yeah. So it's take care of yourselves, take care of the people around you, take care of your communities. Let's band together. Let's keep each other safe, and let's do what we can.
remember to vote.
Remember to vote. Yeah. So that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me. I had so much fun.
Of course,
For
this was so
real.
great. Everyone, go tune into PapiOddly stream. Always a great time, whether it's Roblox or a horror game. When I tuned in the other
Enough.
day and you were doing the Roblox fashion game, that was so silly. It was such a fun time. I'm telling you, y'all have a great time. If you enjoy Twitch streams, you definitely gotta hop over there. Do you want to leave everyone your ats? Let us know what's coming up
Yes.
and all that shenanigans.
Yes, feel free to check me out on twitch.tv/PapiOddly _. But everywhere else, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at PapiOddly. All my links are in my bio, as well as my email, PapiOddly@gmail, in case you want to coordinate with me, collab, sponsorship, you name it. And and this upcoming Saturday, I've officially announced that I'm an official co-streamer for Latin American game showcase at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So catch me on my stream while we review some really amazing indie games created by people that are from Latin America. And then on the same day at 6 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to be on a Pride panel, which is going to be on the front page of Twitch, mind you, to talk about intersectionality, what it's like to live as a queer person and Latina, and how that affects me in my journey in life. And that's going to
Perfect.
be on twitch.tv/Ivy Molina. Let's go. That's my drag mama.
Period. Send me the links so I can post them on
Oh,
my socials and stuff,
yeah.
because the episodes usually come out on Monday. So that
Okay.
way, even if the episode comes out after this has already happened, I can still, on the day of, send
Mhm.
people to go support and stuff like that.
Appreciate it. Oh, I almost sent it to her instead of you.
Oh.
Oops. Embarrassing.
I've been Jake. You can, of course, always follow me at Poison Touch Pod or at Krowgung to see me talk about X-Men, Pokemon, all types of different shenanigans. You can, listen to the pod on all the podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple. Leave me a little 5-star review. Leave me some stars and all that stuff. And over at Patreon at patreon.com/Poison Touch Pod, we are doing bonus episodes, full video episodes if you're not already on there. And you can see our beautiful faces. And we're doing X-Men recaps, Library of Alexandria. My computer is fixed finally, so I can get back to work, which I'm very excited about. So I've got a lot of stuff in the pipeline coming down. And yeah, I'm just so excited to be back. The last couple of weeks were a little rough, not having my computer in working order. I couldn't post reels. I couldn't do an episode. It was a pain. But now we're back, and I am so excited that you're all here with me. So thank you so much. And I couldn't do this without y'all. And truly, I can't do this without y'all, because you can also submit your own questions at poisontouch.com or by calling in at 312-625-6483 to get tarot cards pulled your advice. And we'll catch y'all in a couple weeks for the advice to the stars. Not advice to oh. We'll catch y'all.
Ooh,
That's not
restart.
Mm-hmm. We'll catch y'all in 2 weeks for the next episode where we dive into a couple Reddit stories. So we'll catch y'all then.
Ooh.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Boom.